All right, people, welcome back to Save America, Vote Tulsi Gabbard. I'm Dave. I am your reluctant observer of all things Tulsi Gabbard. The reason I say reluctant is because it's just such an uphill battle with the media and the establishment and so-called progressives who have kind of disqualified Tulsi Gabbard because of a tweet, or at least are so critical of the tweet that, I don't know, going into the debate, it was almost like, do you not like Tulsi? Are you recanting your support for Tulsi? All right, anyway, I wasn't really expecting a whole lot from last night. In fact, I did a dog and pony show video yesterday, which didn't get a lot of views because, look, people have put, whether it's a good thing or not, they've put a lot of hope in a debate like this to get things moving for Tulsi Gabbard. And my analysis here is last night, Tulsi Gabbard did her supporters proud. Her exchange with Tim Ryan, a guy who looked bewildered, who looked absolutely like he didn't want to be on the stage once Tulsi Gabbard laid into him. Let's watch a few highlights here, and then I'll do some commentary. And this guy, Lester Holt, I mean, these are all corporate media shills.
Nuclear deal as it was originally negotiated.
Donald Trump and his cabinet, Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, and others, are creating a situation that just a spark would light off a war with Iran, which is incredibly dangerous. That's why we need to de-escalate tensions. Trump needs to get back into the Iran nuclear deal and swallow his pride, put the American people first.
Whether we're talking about Iran, whether we're talking about Afghanistan, we've got to be completely engaged.
Is that what you will tell the parents of those two soldiers who were just killed in Afghanistan? Well, we just have to be engaged.
All right. Here's a question for the American people. And by the way, if you trip over this video like it's in your way, like you're looking for something else and you find little me here, do you guys does the American people, do the American people at large, do they care that people are still dying in these wars? Do they care? Do they even give it a thought? Do they wake up in the morning and go, wow, another great sunrise today? And just, for those people that are spiritual and maybe do some reflecting each day. And by the way, this isn't keeping us safe, because this is what I hear all the time, that we've got to send troops out all over the world to keep us safe here. You know, remember George W. Bush? Well, we got to fight the terrorists over there so we don't have to fight the terrorists here. Incredibly horrible logic, just propaganda, which makes no sense. So Tulsi Gabbard here, and again, my question isn't rhetorical. It's, do the American people care that people get killed fighting senseless wars that have nothing to do with our national security? Zero. Okay? And I'll keep saying it. And I will keep looking for the candidate. If Tulsi Gabbard can't do this, if for some reason it's Biden or it's now Julian Castro all of a sudden after last night with all the identity politics and wedge issues, and just your head wants to explode because he's, you know, and again, he worked for Obama. He cross off all the intersectionality stuff. I'm sorry, I'm doing a little Beto O'Rourke here. Apologize. Too many hands. Yeah, it could be Joe Biden. Too many hands. All right, let's roll this.
As a soldier, I will tell you that answer is unacceptable. We have to bring our troops home from...
Powerful applause line. Look at the reaction of this guy. All right, look at him. He's a neo lib is what he is, and I don't even know if he's a neo-lib. He could be a Republican for all I know. I don't know. He's from northeastern Ohio, which is a state which, honestly, I get where he's coming from as far as jobs, and he wants manufacturing jobs, and that's his wheelhouse. Foreign policy is not his wheelhouse, and he probably just thinks, hey, we got to keep more people in our state employed, and our quote-unquote engagement on the world. This is another thing. Are we supposed to just withdraw from the world stage? Yeah, we are, because our founding fathers, okay? I'm doing a little bit of Ron Paul here. I'm doing a little bit of common sense here. Our founding fathers did not want us in what they called foreign entanglements. Google it. Google founding fathers, foreign entanglements. All right, and you'll find out what their opinions were largely. And I'm talking about not the people who came later. I'm talking about the early founders of the country who were fleeing that kind of tyranny. They did not want to go around the world and impose tyranny on people.
Afghanistan. We are no better off in Afghanistan today than we were when this war began. This is why it's so important to have a president and commander-in-chief who knows the cost of war and who's
deer in the headlights. Like, here she is now. This is I'm the serious person. This person's gone off the rails. I'm shocked, by the way, that Tulsi was able to get this much information out to everybody, including the NBC newsroom, who, had to be a little, with Comcast as their owner. At this point, they had to be freaking out that this message was going out live over their airwaves.
Ready to do the job on day one. I am ready to do that job when I walk into the Oval Office. Thank you very much.
Listen, I'm going to go down the line.
But the reality of it is, if the United States isn't engaged, the Taliban will grow, and they will have bigger.
They will have that, and the Taliban will grow. And Taliban, Al Qaeda. Do you know the difference?
Bolder terrorist acts. We have got to have some present.
Again, fear mongering. It's fear. They're going to do to who? Who are these dangerous acts? Who are they doing them to? They're not directly here in the United States. Yeah, there's probably a sleeper cell. So we need to work at that. We need to find the sleeper cell. But this 20 years worth of fear mongering.
The Taliban was there long before we came in. They'll be there long before we leave.
Well,
we cannot keep U.S. troops deployed to Afghanistan thinking that we're going to somehow squash this Taliban that has been there, that every other country.
Okay, so he didn't say squash. So what are we supposed to do? Play cards with the terrorists? Say, come on over. We just want to keep you guys here forever, and we want to keep deploying troops here and put people's lives at risk. We want to spend trillions of dollars on endless wars so we can kind of keep tabs on you guys and see what you're doing. Because this is what Ryan is advocating here, and he's getting his butt handed to him by Tulsi Gabbard, who, I'm sorry, has more testosterone than Tim Ryan.
I didn't say squash them. When we weren't in there, they started flying planes into our buildings.
Not accurate. Not accurate. And she knows it. Not accurate. When we weren't in there, what? So Bill Clinton was supposed to send troops to Afghanistan? First thing, George W. Bush, which wouldn't have been surprising, actually, with Dick Cheney. Let's deploy troops to a random area of the world so we can set up shop and again, be the policeman in case something breaks out. Because that's, again, the founders were smart with a lot of things, and they knew this was going to, we're supposed to be able to pursue happiness as a people. And this is a hindrance to all of that. Because if we collectively decide, hey, we'd like Medicare for all, or we'd like to erase student loan debt, well, that gets a little prickly when you have trillions of dollars in outlays that just never end, that go out to these endless wars. And let's listen to Tulsi here. She's awesome here.
So I'm just saying right now,
The
we have an
Taliban didn't attack us on 9/11. Al-Qaeda did.
Well,
Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11.
I understand.
That's why
And again, this is somebody, you know why Tulsi is sharp on this? Because she lived it. She went over there. She knows the difference between Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, whereas most Americans just think it's all the same. And then they think Muslim, Islam, it's all the same. And it's not all the same. And not all Muslims are terrorist people. And I know it's hard for... And Tim Ryan, by the way, perpetuating the George W. Bush approach. And unbelievable. Didn't Bush go out with one of the lowest approval ratings, whatever, of any president? I mean, it was down like in the 20s or something. It was just, he couldn't get out of there fast enough.
and so many other people joined the military to go after Al-Qaeda, not the Taliban.
The
Congressman, finish up 10
was
seconds.
protecting those people who were plotting against us. All I'm saying is, if we want to go in...
See, the Taliban was protecting the people. Hey, Tim, it's Saudi Arabia, buddy. You know, I know you and Trump and everybody, you just want to prop Saudi Arabia up, and MSNBC, CNN, they got no problem. It's weird. It's weird how we pick countries. I watched a show on RT the other day, which they were talking about this, how we have this weird fascination with certain countries like Iran and Afghanistan, but we have no weird fascination with Saudi Arabia, who, well, let's just roll it.
To elections, and we want to say that we got to withdraw from the world. That's what President Trump is saying. We can't. I would.
Okay. Oh, so opposing Trump because Trump is showing some restraint, came within about 10 minutes of launching a war with Iran the other day, and maybe Tucker Carlson of all people stopped him. Watch Jimmy Dore's got a video on that. It's fascinating.
Love for us too.
Protecting Al-Qaeda right now in Saudi Arabia.
There you go, Saudi Arabia, and it ends right there. And this, by the way, this came in from Tulsi's campaign. Posted this, and they actually had just heated moments from other candidates. So how did Tulsi Gabbard do last night? That's the big question. She didn't harm her campaign whatsoever, and that's something I know people are, what? Yeah, because you can go into these debates too hot, and you can kind of look like a lunatic, and people might remember you. I think that's what's happening with Julian Castro right now. Oh, he's trending because he was the most wedge issue, tribal-friendly candidate up there, and MSNBC loves it. All right, Elizabeth Warren got all kinds of airtime, and quite honestly, she was boring. She didn't have anything new to add to the conversation. She didn't have a sparky moment like what we just saw at all. When she got assertive, it was about stuff that you were like, yeah, okay, good, I'm glad you're assertive about this, but it's not going to change the dynamic of what people perceive about you. My wife was watching this debate with me, and she's this conservative in the room, real conservative, and she just says about Elizabeth Warren, like, I just don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her personality. I don't like her delivery. And that's important because, unfortunately, people vote mostly on that stuff. You know, my wife has student loan debt, and Elizabeth Warren has this proposal out, and I said, hey, would you vote for her? And she's like, yeah, but I think I'd rather vote for Bernie, and obviously I'd rather vote for Tulsi. So I think Warren is going to have this, I mean, and this is the elephant in the room for the Democrats. They keep pushing these candidates out there that are really going to have trouble with Donald Trump. I mean, Elizabeth Warren is going to get eaten alive by Donald Trump. You think Tulsi Gabbard would put up with any crap from Trump? And then how much sympathy would the war veteran who has served, who is really fervently anti-war, who's sticking up for our troops in a way which isn't just saying, oh, well, we got to do this for the troops. Tulsi Gabbard has the ultimate gift to the troops. Bring them home. That's how you take care of our troops. And of course, it's very telling that so many veterans support Tulsi Gabbard. Even Dr. Ron Paul was on with Rick Sanchez last night, and they talked at length, and they were asking Dr. Paul about the candidates in this race, and he said he pronounces Tulsi's last name wrong. He says Tulsi Gabbard, but he singles her out and says Tulsi is the only one that has a foreign policy that would actually be beneficial to our country. So Tulsi Gabbard didn't hurt her campaign last night. I think if you were watching this with an open mind, you heard her as the only voice of sanity on foreign policy. I know I've been told a million times that candidates who run on foreign policy don't do well because the American people cannot parse, they cannot process foreign policy, like the war in Afghanistan, the war in Syria. All they hear from their local news affiliates is, we've got to support the troops as they keep our freedom going. And they're going over here and they're going over there. And you think to yourself, what does that have to do with our freedom? You see these t-shirts that you walk into Walmart. Freedom, has a cost, or whatever it says. Or freedom ain't free. I'm like, no, it costs trillions and trillions of dollars, apparently, where it doesn't need to. Freedom can be a lot cheaper. Let's put it that way. Tulsi Gabbard's trying to make freedom cost a little less. I mean, look at it this way. We have this one candidate who has a real message. Now, you'll say Bernie has a similar message. And by the way, all those people that are just, you go on Twitter and they're like, oh, I miss Bernie. Oh, I wish Bernie was in this debate. It's like, all right, knock off with the Bernie worship, okay? Because you've got a great candidate on the stage. Promote her tonight, or last night. You can promote Bernie all you want tonight, and I probably won't watch tonight, to be honest with you. I have no interest in it. Now, I'll probably watch highlights and break it down, but Tulsi's not there tonight. Tulsi was there last night, and she's the best candidate running. Does she have a chance to win this? She does. I think she keeps her candidacy alive. There've got to be a few libertarians out there that see this and go, okay, she is the real deal. And, I may not agree with her on some of these progressive type things, but this here is such a big ticket game changer that I'm going to go all in for Tulsi Gabbard. The other thing is, technically last night, whether you like to hear this or not, and I think I might have mentioned this in another video, technically last night was the undercard event. Because that's how and it's kind of like a concert event, right? Where, there are two nights, and on the second night, it's kind of like the finale, and the finale is bigger, and you build to that second debate where you've got Biden and Bernie on the same stage. And then you got, Kamala Harris. So there are heavier weight candidates, at least in the media's definition, that are coming tomorrow night. Bernie clearly has more support than Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he doesn't. And he is really the progressive wing of this party's, I was going to use a term that is probably inappropriate, but he is their guy, okay? And he is, they're going to put all their eggs in the Bernie basket. And you've got Biden up there, and some of these polls I'm seeing about Biden are just ridiculous. I hope they're not right, because it's just, if Biden is the nominee and you're not thinking about a third party, at this stage are just an independent candidate or somebody who can just shake the establishment to its core, then you're just not paying attention. And I get that. At a certain point, people tune out and they can't take it. I totally get that. But we need people to be engaged and care about things. So, again, just summarizing here, I loved this debate. I wasn't sure I was going to even watch the entire debate, believe it or not. But some of the stuff was making me angry. All the time Warren was getting. All the time Julian Castro. I mean, what? And there were some other people that, I mean, Bill de Blasio, too, got way too much time. I guess it's fair in the sense that the lower tier candidates are getting all the airtime, but they're not gonna. None of those people are gonna be president of the United States. Not in 2020. Just not gonna happen. So, well done, Tulsi. Tulsi's sister for putting together a lot of these video clips, and for being really spunky on Twitter defending her sister. You could tell that there's a bond there, and she is so sticking up for her sister, and I love it. These people are family, they're tight, and they love each other, and the aloha spirit, it's there. It's there. And the fact that Tulsi Gabbard is the only candidate running who really has a strong anti-war stance, we should all be thankful that she's here and do what we can. If you haven't given to her campaign yet, okay, if you've already given, you can keep giving money. But the thing is, she needs original donors. She needs people who haven't given to her campaign yet. So if you're on the edge, thinking, okay, you could probably spare $1 and give $1 to Tulsi. I've given 3 or 4 times. I have a video yesterday that did really, or 2 days ago that did really well, that's still demonetized. The one where I did the analysis where Jimmy Dore talks, like 4,000 views. For me, that's pretty good. Zero monetization. All right, so you can help Tulsi with $1. You can help me go over to Patreon and donate like $1 a month or whatever. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be doing some kind of a channel no matter what happens in the future, because there needs to be anti-war voices on here. And I think I'm kind of unique because I'm not a garden variety progressive. I'm progressive on some issues. I'm conservative on some issues. Anyway, just help us both out. Tulsi first, and then me. Okay, that's fair. Tulsi rocked it last night. I loved what she did, and she made me proud. And I'm thankful that I picked a good candidate. I mean, she's the only one, people. She's it. All right, done. See you soon.